Anxiety is like a silent thief. It creeps into your mornings, steals your focus at work, and keeps you awake at night. Most people try to fight it with distraction, consumption, or denial. But here's the hidden truth. The more you resist anxiety, the more it tightens its grip. Now imagine this. What if you could destroy anxiety not by escaping it, but by mastering it? What if there were ancient practices, tested for centuries, that could make your mind unshakable, no matter the chaos around you? The Stoics knew this secret, and today, I will reveal 9 Stoic practices that can destroy anxiety once and for all. These are not abstract theories. They are practical steps that Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus lived by in times of war, exile, and loss. And if they worked for them, they will work for you. But here's the cliffhanger. One of these practices is so powerful, it can rewire the way your brain responds to fear in less than a minute. Keep watching, because that lesson alone can change your entire life. To destroy anxiety, we must first understand its root. Anxiety is not caused by the world outside. It is caused by the way we interpret it. As Epictetus taught, men are disturbed not by things but by the views which they take of them. That is the foundation of Stoicism, and that is where we begin. Practice 1. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. The first Stoic practice is the cornerstone of their philosophy, the dichotomy of control. Anxiety often arises when we try to control the uncontrollable, what others think, what the future holds, whether we succeed or fail. The Stoics saw this as madness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." How to apply this today? Start by making 2 lists. One list contains things you can control, your thoughts, your choices, your actions. The other contains what you cannot, other people, the past, the weather, the economy. Next, practice radical focus. Anytime your mind races with "what if," stop and ask, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act. If no, release it. Why it destroys anxiety? Because anxiety thrives on illusion, the illusion that worrying can change outcomes. Once you stop feeding that illusion, anxiety starves. Cliffhanger. But here's what nobody tells you. Knowing what you can't control is not enough. You must also train your body and mind to stay grounded when fear strikes. And that brings us to the second practice. Practice 2. Negative visualization. Rehearse hardship. At first, this sounds counterintuitive. Why would anyone fighting anxiety imagine worst-case scenarios? But the Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Seneca advised, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." By rehearsing hardship in your mind, you take away its power to shock you. How to apply this today? Each morning, imagine one thing going wrong. It could be losing your job, facing criticism, or missing an opportunity. Then, calmly walk through how you would respond, not with panic, but with reason. End the exercise by reminding yourself, "Even this, I could endure." Why it destroys anxiety? Because most anxiety comes not from reality, but from uncertainty. Once you have rehearsed loss, failure, or discomfort, you've already lived it in your mind. Fear loses its sharpness. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote nightly about death, loss, and pain, not because he was pessimistic, but because by imagining them, he robbed them of their terror. Cliffhanger. But here's the hidden twist. Negative visualization only works if you balance it with gratitude. Otherwise, it can darken your outlook. In the next practice, you'll see how Stoics turned fear into fuel for appreciation. Practice 3. The view from above. Anxiety often feels overwhelming because we shrink into our problems. A harsh comment at work feels like the end of the world. A small failure feels like permanent doom. The Stoics trained themselves to destroy this distortion with a technique called the view from above. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about lifting his mind to look at life from the highest vantage point, above Rome, above the earth, even above human life itself. From that view, our problems shrink. What seemed unbearable now looks insignificant against the canvas of eternity. How to apply this today? Next time you feel overwhelmed, close your eyes and imagine rising above your life. See your home from the sky. See your city shrink beneath you. Then see the earth itself, spinning in space. Ask yourself, in the face of time and the vastness of the universe, does this problem still deserve my panic? Train your mind to revisit this perspective daily. Why it destroys anxiety? Because anxiety feeds on magnification. It makes problems look bigger than they are. But from the view from above, you reverse the illusion. You see your troubles for what they truly are: passing, small, temporary, cliffhanger. But here's the hidden truth. The view from above works only if you pair it with grounding in the present moment. Otherwise, your mind floats too far away. That's why the Stoics practiced something remarkably similar to what we now call mindfulness. Practice 4. Anchor in the present moment. One of Marcus Aurelius's most repeated instructions to himself was this: confine yourself to the present. Anxiety always drags us into the future. What if this happens? What if I fail? What if tomorrow brings pain? The antidote is radical presence. The Stoics believed that the only reality is now. The past is memory. The future is imagination. Anxiety thrives when we live in those illusions instead of the present. How to apply this today? When your heart races with anxiety, don't fight the thoughts. Instead, bring attention to something physical: your breath, your hands, your feet touching the ground. Break down your day into the task at hand. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Stick with the situation at hand." Practice asking, what is required of me in this exact moment? Nothing more, nothing less. Why it destroys anxiety? Because anxiety cannot survive in the present. It needs tomorrow's shadows and yesterday's ghosts. When you anchor yourself to what is directly in front of you, the grip of anxiety breaks. Cliffhanger. But anchoring in the present doesn't mean ignoring the future. The Stoics had a unique way of preparing for challenges without falling into worry. That's the 5th practice, and it rewires how you deal with uncertainty itself. Practice 5. Amor fati. Love your fate. Most people endure life. The Stoics chose something stronger. They embraced it. This practice is called amor fati, love of fate. Instead of wishing things were different, they trained themselves to welcome every twist, good or bad, as part of the larger order of the universe. Marcus Aurelius said, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." The anxious mind sees setbacks as threats. The Stoic mind transforms them into fuel. How to apply this today? Each time something unpleasant happens, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this giving me the chance to practice?" If traffic delays you, use it to practice patience. If you lose something, use it to practice detachment. If someone insults you, use it to practice calm dignity. Reframe every obstacle as a lesson. Why it destroys anxiety? Because anxiety thrives on resistance, fighting reality, wishing it were otherwise. But when you embrace fate, there is nothing left to resist. Even the storm becomes part of your journey. Cliffhanger. But loving fate doesn't mean becoming passive. The Stoics also taught fierce preparation, the kind that turns fear into strength. And that's the 6th practice. The practice 6. Voluntary discomfort. Most anxiety comes from fear of discomfort. We fear pain, rejection, or hardship. The Stoics destroyed this fear by choosing discomfort on purpose. Seneca advised his students to practice poverty for days at a time, wearing rough clothes and eating simple food, asking, Is this what I feared? By rehearsing discomfort, they weakened its hold. Anxiety cannot scare you with what you've already faced willingly. How to apply this today? Schedule small voluntary hardships. Sleep without a pillow, skip a meal, take a cold shower or walk instead of driving. During each exercise, remind yourself, I can endure this. Return to normal life with fresh gratitude for comfort and confidence in your resilience. Why it destroys anxiety? Because much of anxiety is anticipation, the fear of how bad something might feel. Once you voluntarily taste discomfort, it loses its terror. You realize you are stronger than you imagined. Cliffhanger. But here's what nobody tells you. Courage in hardship is only half the Stoic path. The other half is about aligning your actions with deep inner values. Without that alignment, anxiety always returns. That's where the seventh practice comes in. Practice 7, live by virtue, not by fear. The Stoics believed that virtue is the only true good. Wealth, health, status, and reputation are not within our control, and therefore are not reliable measures of a life well lived. Anxiety thrives when we chase those externals. It dies when we anchor ourselves in virtue. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Seneca taught that a wise man's peace comes from living in accordance with reason, not from applause. When you live by virtue, fear loses its power, because nothing external can take away your integrity. How to apply this today? Each morning, define your virtue compass: honesty, courage, self-discipline, compassion. At the end of the day, review your actions. Did you live by your values or by fear? Use mistakes not to punish yourself, but to course correct with clarity. Why it destroys anxiety? Because anxiety thrives on uncertainty about who you are and what matters. When your compass is virtue, you no longer waver with the storms of circumstance. You know what to do because you know who you are. Cliffhanger. But even with virtue as your compass, the world will still test you. People will attack, insult, and try to break your peace. That's where the 8th practice reveals the ultimate Stoic shield. Borg Practice 8, Indifference to Insults. Epictetus once said, if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses but answer, he does not know my other faults, else he would not have mentioned only these. The Stoics treated insults with indifference, sometimes even with humor. They knew that words have only the power you grant them. Anxiety about judgment is one of the greatest chains of modern life. What will they think? What will they say? What if I look foolish? Stoicism cuts this chain. How to apply this today? When insulted, pause before reacting. Ask, is this within my control? Reframe criticism as data. Does it reveal something useful, or is it noise? If useful, use it. If noise, ignore it. Practice Epictetus's technique. Smile and respond lightly, acknowledging faults with calmness. Why it destroys anxiety? Because the fear of others' opinions is one of the greatest triggers of anxiety. When you no longer fear judgment, you are free. You move through the world with the strength of a fortress. Cliffhanger. But the Stoics didn't stop at indifference. They went further. They taught that by aligning your life with nature itself, you can achieve unshakable peace. And that is the 9th and final practice. Practice 9. Live in harmony with nature. The ultimate Stoic practice is not simply about enduring hardship or ignoring insults. It is about aligning your life with the natural order of the universe. The Stoics called this living according to nature. Marcus Aurelius wrote, adapt yourself to the things among which your lot has been cast, and love sincerely the fellow creatures with whom destiny has ordained that you shall live. To live in harmony with nature is to accept the cycles of life, birth, growth, decay, and death. It is to understand that everything flows and that resistance only breeds suffering. When you align with nature, anxiety loses its claws, because you no longer demand that reality bend to your will. You move with it, like a river flowing to the sea. How to apply this today? See yourself as part of something vast. You are not isolated. You are woven into the same fabric as rivers, stars, and trees. When faced with change, ask, is this not the way of nature? Do the seasons not change? Do the rivers not rise and fall? Practice humility. Remind yourself daily of your small but meaningful place in the grand order. Why it destroys anxiety. Because much of anxiety comes from fighting the inevitable, wanting permanence where there is none, certainty where there never will be. Harmony with nature dissolves this struggle. You accept life as it is, and in that acceptance you find peace. If this resonates with you, imagine what more awaits when you live each day like a Stoic. Subscribe and walk with us. Those who follow this wisdom attract more clarity, more strength, and more freedom from fear. And if you've stayed with me until now, you've already proven your pursuit of wisdom. Like this video, share it with someone you care about, and let's go further together. So, these are the 9 Stoic practices that will destroy anxiety. 1. Control what you can, ignore what you can't. 2. Negative visualization. 3. The view from above. 4. Anchor in the present moment. 5. Amor fati. Love your fate. 6. Voluntary discomfort. 7. Live by virtue, not fear. 8. Indifference to insults. 9. Live in harmony with nature. But here's the thought I want to leave with you. Anxiety will always knock at your door. The Stoic way is not about eliminating it forever. It's about answering the knock with calmness, with dignity, and with unshakable strength. The next lesson may surprise you even more, because the Stoics also taught how to turn pain itself into power. And that is something you cannot miss.